Hey guys, my name is Nex. Last week I told you all in the community post that I wanted to do an Ask Me Anything video. Here it is. And wow, I got quite a few questions. So let's answer them all. Our first question comes from Into Worshipper, who asks, when did you start to play Yumaniki? I used to really like and still do love to browse Wikipedia. I loved going there and reading random articles ever since I was a child. So one day, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, I came across this article called List of Notable Freeware Video Games. I was like, whoa, you can get games for free? So I looked through all the games in the list, but none of them really seemed interesting to me. Until I scrolled to the bottom. It was sorted alphabetically. And there is Yumaniki. When I read the article, I was really intrigued by how adventurous and mysterious it seemed. But I knew it was going to be a mature game, so I waited a few years until I was like 12 or 13 to play it. Unfortunately, by then I had already seen a couple of gameplay videos before playing it myself, so I knew what to expect. That didn't stop me from enjoying it though. Alright, next question. This one comes from Sirius underscore Alpha, who asks, what is your first YN fan game? After I first finished Demoniki, my first thought was to try some of his fan games. I couldn't figure out how to play the Japanese ones at the time, so the first fan games I ever played were Someday and Broken Bottles. Back then, the current versions were 0.06 and 0.02 respectively. I enjoyed both of them very much. I like the music of both of them, and I still like to hum Someday's school theme to this day. I like what Broken Bottles' story had going for it too. It was sad, but a very good story so far. Alternatively, if you were asking what the first fan game I ever made was, it was Mizu. I made that fan game in 2014 and later remade it in 2020. Now, the first version of it was really cruddy. I made all the effect sprites in freaking GIMP. 13-year-old me and GIMP do not mix. I do not know how I managed this, but it's nice to see the then and now comparing this with a remake. Both versions are available on my itch page if you want to check it out. I still have future plans with it. A couple of you asked these next questions, which were, which is your favorite protagonist? Which is your least favorite? I honestly like all protagonists. I don't really hate or dislike any protagonist design. With that being said, while it's hard to pick a favorite of all time, and might change again after this video, my current favorite character design is Leon from Fog. I think his beanie and glasses are cute. My favorite character in general is Chuchin from Dream Genie. I adore her blue eyes. Here's the next question. Black Waltz asks, do you ever wish you could be as cute as the protagonist in the game? Being cute seems nice. It's hard to say. Most of the protagonists in these games are girls, and I'm a grown man. I think my definition of cute may be different from yours. As a gay bear, I like to think I'm cute, but definitely not cute like a YNG protagonist. The other question that quite a few of you asked was, what fan game were you most impressed by and the most disappointed by? Ever since I beta tested Re-In back in 2018, it remains one of the most impressive YNGs I've ever played. The pixel art was stunning, and the story was impressive at the time. Yeah, it's kind of confusing and obtuse to get into nowadays, but it just had to be there for the hype. Another impressive fan game for me personally was with Toru. Just the jump from the graphical and technical jankiness from a version R.4F to Beta++ was absolutely stunning. How the player unlocks more nexuses and more places to explore as they progress. The music's so awesome. It's like wow, this game became so much better in every way. Yeah, the translation is pretty awkward in places, but some would say it adds to the game's whimsical charm. I'm gonna play the latest version sometime. Trust me. I'm very sorry to say, but the most disappointing fan game to me is Collective Unconscious. It's nothing about the game itself, don't worry. I just don't vibe with the idea of a multiplayer exclusive fan game that doesn't have any alternative offline public build. There actually is one, but it's not public. You gotta go to a Discord server to get a link to it and be an active contributor to YumaWiki. I'm actually not allowed to play the offline build on my channel, or else it would trigger so many of my viewers to demand an offline build, the lead developers have advised me. Recording Rhino project on my browser isn't ideal because what if the server restarts in the middle of a session and the screen goes black? I would lose some progress and I had to restart the recording attempt over. Setting up to record would be more of a hassle than usual, such as hiding my bookmarks, or making sure I don't press the escape key while I'm in the full screen because I'm so used to using that key to open the menu. I also need to remember to log out and turn on private mode, and it's just all this setup to play an extremely long game. I probably won't play this game on my channel until there's a better official solution, or when this game is finished and is receiving no more updates. Next question. This one comes from Salem Mars 3809, who asks, what thing has the most beautiful visuals to you? Once again, I have a few different answers to this question. I like the visuals of pretty much any fan game. When I play each and every one of them for my channel, I do so with an honest perspective. Though I do have a few absolute favorites. I really like Sister's Dream. The amount of detail in the pixel art is so stunning. I love the idea of going deeper into dreams in games like these and finding more vivid and detailed areas. And this is kind of specific, but I also like the entire journey from Forest Pier to Depths in Yumatuki. The set of worlds from developer Wataru impressed me the most in Yumatuki, and they still do. Up next, this question from Zycart65 who asks, what is what you are looking for in a fan game? Gloomy vibes, cute vibes, or however you can describe it. I like fan games that are gloomy and have a really good implied plot going for it. Dot Flow and Mikan Muzo were really good in those aspects. Some of my favorite gloomy fan games are Tsukumo no Yume, Broken Bottles, the Looking Glass, Answered Prayers, Sister's Dream, Deep Dreams, Yamagatari, If, and the list goes on. I mostly don't like cutesy fan games because most of them turn dark and scary anyway right at the end. Because these dark twists and mostly cute fan games are so unfitting, at least in my opinion, they end up falling flat and make the game's entire plot so pointless. A cute fan game can work though. Take Dream Marblank for example. The game has almost no horror visuals, and all the endings are actually very wholesome. I also like it when the fan game introduces a new gameplay mechanic. Some examples would be Remedy's Two Dream Worlds, which is a heavy inspiration from to make my own fan game called Insulted. Dream Marbling's Paint to Build the Nexus and Unlock More Worlds mechanic. The way you have to abandon the effects you already have, not collect them, in Yume Mita. There's lots of ideas out there, and I love to see what people come up with. Okay, here's the next question. This user asks, what is the component you look forward to the most when playing a new YNFG? Atmosphere, story, music, animation, etc. And what's your biggest pet peeve that you often encounter playing these games? Great questions! I look forward to the atmosphere, the music, and the story the most in a fan game. Music and visuals can do a lot for building up a great atmosphere, and if a song is really memorable, and it can become a permanent earworm in my head. I always want to know the story of why the main character doesn't want to leave their room. It's always fun to search their dreams for clues and answers. As for my pet peeves, it's never about the games themselves, well, except for when there's a really annoying random chance event like an Oboa clone. And I used to have an irrational dislike of Wolf RPG editor games because there were hardly any guides in the wiki on them, and I didn't know how to open or decrypt Wolf RPG editor games myself. So my actual current pet peeves are related to the recording process. Sometimes I'll be playing while I'm recording and realized OBS never registered my hotkey being tapped and didn't record at all. Then I had to start all over again. I also once had to restart all over again because OBS somehow never captured the audio of my game after I switched devices from my headphones to my speakers. It's genuinely agonizing. Please obey YouTuber. It's not worth it. Joking. This next one comes from MapRunner_, who asks, what's your work grind like? How do you avoid or at least reduce burnout with how many thorough long plays you put out? So here's what I usually do during the production of a new video. I do things very linearly. You may have noticed that at the start of every game, I walk around the main character's bedroom, interact with everything, open the menu, and display all the options. Then, when I save the game for the first time, I pause and just stand there for a second or two. That's when I stop recording and start a new one. That next recording is me doing everything I want to accomplish within the first dream session. Then after that I wake up, save, stop recording, and start recording again. It's just that linear. I understand that there are a lot of risks involved doing things this way, such as if I mess up, then I have to start the recording over, or worse, the whole playthrough over. Yikes. But I haven't come up with any other solution to do things more non-linearly, if that's even a thing. My playthroughs are so thorough because I take so much time paying close attention to every other guide that's out there as much as possible. Mostly on the wiki or the Japanese wiki. But if I need something like a map for an area that's not there on the wiki, and if I need to know the exact probability and conditions for a random event, or there isn't a walkthrough page out there for a fan game at all, I prefer opening the game myself in RPG Maker, or in other cases, Wolf RPG Editor. So I always feel so stupid if I miss something important or at least notable. It's happened plenty of times before in the channel. And as far as burnout, motivation has always been a huge issue for me. I always have this feeling that if I don't get this thing I want to do or mean to do now, I will never have the time or energy to get it done again, or for a long while. Because of this, oftentimes I get some shorter long plays all done, time-stamped, and ready quite literally the day they're uploaded. While on one hand you could say hyper-focusing on a game in this fashion helps me memorize it better, on the other hand I get burned out a lot more easily this way. I don't really know quite yet how to avoid burnout. I've been through a lot of it. I always feel a little guilty about being gone from YouTube because then I feel forced to make a new video when I've been gone for a month of burnout from the last video. I'll try to figure it out sometime. I really hope this doesn't worry you at all. I'm doing just fine otherwise. This next question comes from Nastia from Psycho Nestigo, who asks, have you ever gotten tired from playing Unity fan games? Honestly, yes, I have. There have been times where I got bored of playing these kind of games and want to do something different with my channel for a while. Sometimes Wine of G's just seem too monotonous and irritating to play. Sometimes I want to play some other kind of game, just anything. But I've realized my tastes in gaming are extremely limited, like I'm pretty picky. I'm just not very great at video games in general. I have posted from some content unrelated to Unity and his fan games before. Doing different kinds of gameplay videos often requires a lot more thought and effort put into them than my Wine of G content though. And recently, they're almost never achieving the same kind of attention as my regular content. I really have mixed feelings about that. Sometimes I wonder if I should feel discouraged because maybe it wasn't what people expected, or maybe I should just be happy for myself because I finally deviated from the norm that I think everybody's used to. I guess it's something I need to assess with myself. And speaking of other games, by the way, the next question comes from Uxihatu12, who asks, what kind of games do you like besides Unity and his fan games? When I was a kid, I loved to play with my Leapster consoles, my GBA, my DS, my Wii, and my family's computer. The games I played were Mario, UB Funkies, I Spy, Lego DS games, and that's pretty much all I can think of off the top of my head. The specific games I tend to like nowadays as far as genre, I've always pretty had a hard time describing to people. It's like, I don't like first-person shooters, but I like Half-Life 1, and I want to finish it in an expansions one day. I do enjoy Mario games, but I especially enjoy playing and learning about very obscure and not very well-known games such as Super Mario Bros. Special. I like DS games, but I only have a handful of my collection of games dumped to my computer, and on my channel I've only played all those Japanese Escape the Room DSiWare games where only like half that series was released in English officially. And the sole reason I may want to get a PS3 emulator running one day is to play more of that series. Why do I like all these specific things? I think the answer is because at its core, I like games that are novelties. I like games that are relics of old gimmicks and technology, such as the game that revolutionized FPS shooters, but nowadays may be primitive to modern gamers. Or the first ever text-adventure game to use such a verbose parser. Or perhaps tons of games that were exclusive to Japan and never saw a wider audience. This explains why my taste in gaming is just so random at times. It explains why I can't seem to pinpoint what genres I like, and why it's hard to get out of my comfort zone. So I'm sorry that I don't have a definitive answer. I'm just very picky, specific, and unpredictable. Alright, second to last question. Rafa5663 asks, what's your favorite fan game that you have discovered by making these videos? My favorite fan game that I have played so far on my channel would be Yuma SD. I like the main character's cool design and her surreal dreams. The music and sound design is pretty neat too. I love the very odd and creative events. It really sucks the creator of this game removed all links to their game. Well, at least it lives on in unofficial archives and in my gameplay video. Alright, last question. Raspergene asks, would you slap Kageto for $100? Hell nah. He's too precious. These last two comments are not questions but are rather compliments. Lagista Panda 3205 and other users say, I'm just here to say I absolutely adore your videos. And just like Uniki's fan games never end, you'll keep recording them too. Your videos introduced me to a lot of obscure fan games, and really encouraged me to try them out, even if it's unfinished or not even translated. Thank you! I always feel so happy when I get comments like these. It makes me feel my work is very helpful and inspiring to a lot of people. I'm really flattered. And I really hope I can continue making new videos and finish as many fan games as possible. And if I can't do a fan game for whatever reason, I hope someone else does it instead. And that just about does it. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. I hope you enjoyed me answering all your questions, and I hope you like all the answers. Sorry this video took so long to get out. I'm a nervous wreck when it comes to recording my voice, so... Anyway, see you guys in the next playthrough. Bye!